Welcome, everybody. This is the episode 1 of the Dynasty Podcast with myself and Thymine. Actually, you can watch this as well. I linked it in the title and the announcement, but twitch.tv/THYMINET. You can watch it in her channel as well. We'll link all the socials afterwards, and then I'll put it in the announcements when we upload the videos as well. All right, so why did we start this podcast to begin with? What did we agree to discuss
Hello.
on the first episode?
Hi. Hello, hi, I'm Thymine. We are here to talk about Ragnarok Origin Global and the differences, a lot of differences that we've noticed since we both used to play, well, I still play kind of, but we played Buna and A.
Yeah, we're basically here to highlight positives of being in the global server as people who played a completely different version, completely different mechanics, some mechanics removed from the game even in the previous version of NA. But yeah, let's see. What's like the most, like the biggest change that made like the biggest impression when you first started the global server compared
Well,
to
the
NA?
first thing I noticed when I logged in was that they had so many cutscenes.
Oh my.
Like, they got voice acting and everything, and as a person who does not enjoy reading long dialogues of text in games at times, it was very noticeable because a lot of the story, I know people skip story all the time, but a lot of the story, they actually have voice acting and like actual cutscenes that were cut from the game, like how we even got to the Novus ground on like an airship, and the dancing scene. They're very noticeable, and yeah, it was just interesting that NA never got those.
In NA, we just kind of got tossed into the training grounds right away. We
Yeah.
didn't have a choice.
Exactly. Well, I mean, to be fair, it was kind of normal in a sense because original Ragnarok we were just in the Noah's grounds too.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I noticed in Global we actually got kind of like a, not quite a full backstory, but it was an explanation of how we even got to the Noah's grounds.
Yeah. The one thing that I was curious of though is where do we actually like come from? We know that we came in from an airship, but what's the actual thing? Or where do you have any idea, like lore wise? I'm not sure how you are with our lore, because I'm not too big on it either. But
I had no idea where we came from exactly, but at least they told us we came from an airship from somewhere.
so we're like a country bumpkin, and it just came to the big city.
Yeah, it's still a mystery.
Yeah. All right. So first big impression was for you was the cutscenes and the voice.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm one of those people that usually skip story, so I kind of probably skipped through that. The one thing that I definitely made the biggest impression with me though is from the get-go, I noticed that some mobs were like harder to kill, and then when after checking the HP of the mobs, and then I opened up my North American account, and come to find out that some mobs actually have 100% more HP. Some mobs even like 300% higher HP, and I wonder if that is because of the new kind of like damage sources that they make in the game. Like the feathers in NA, feathers were kind of introduced like abruptly.
Yeah, they were introduced in a Rue 2.0 update.
Yeah,
which was like almost a year later.
a little over a year, I think. Yeah.
I think it was before the anniversary hit because I stopped playing for 2 months. But yeah, they introduced it quite a bit after, so it changed a lot of how the battle system worked. But it is nice that we get it from the start here because on NA, like if you take a break, it'll take a while for you to even catch up. But for PvP,
yeah,
it is really hard to catch up because I play pretty free to play, and so a lot of people will be, depending on the emblem difference, if a person has an emblem higher than you, they'll do a lot more damage to you in PvP. So it makes it pretty hard to catch up, and like you'll like barely do any damage to them
20%?
in return. Yeah, I think it's like if it's a big difference, like in emblems, then yeah, it's like 20.
Yeah, 20%. I mean, that was rough because if you're free to play and because of how abruptly you got introduced in NA, the tough part about that is if you're free to play, you have no choice, right? You have to gradually get up there. And then but the cap, there was no more cap kind of like to speak of, right? Because whales can just easily bump up all their emblems all the way to the like red or
Yes, yes.
rainbow. But the good thing about global introducing it from the get-go is that you actually have like that kind of like a soft cap in the beginning that nobody can really go up or even like whale hard enough to go up past a certain point. And so that kind of evens up the playing field a little bit compared to like free to play versus like whales. So whereas the advantage isn't so crazy because I think whales in this version are kind of like in the purple zone now, I believe, and I'm like 4-star blue with and I personally haven't spent anything in the game yet. I know Sporing tried topping up using this account. I don't think he actually invested in emblems, but I managed to get to 4-star emblem without spending anything and just being free to play. So that really evens the playing field a little bit, and I think that was a stark, like a really stark like contrast to how NA was.
Yeah. Also, like I didn't even realize. Well, it makes sense, but I didn't realize that enemy HP was higher until you mentioned it. But it makes sense because when I was trying to level, it felt like it did take a while to kill some of the enemies.
Yeah. So you really have to take advantage of all the new systems, like the feather systems and all that, just so you can like up your DPS a little bit. And you know, eventually, I'm because of the new changes, sources of damage, I think it'll even out, or even scale harder than how it was in NA. Once you get to high levels of like feathers and stuff.
Definitely will take a while to get used to if you're not used to feathers and like statues and everything. But as long as you like remember to keep up with it, it is kind of a lot, but you eventually get used to them.
I think the more that people get used to the whole the system as a whole, I think it becomes like a lot more. You know how like people get accustomed to like a new system. I think because we have that since the beginning, it kind of gets slowly introduced to us. Whereas like if you were to start an NA and you've been playing NA for a while, and then all of a sudden it gets introduced, and it's like all very overwhelming. And I think that's like a lot of people who couldn't get into CBT went to NA to try it out before OBT, and they all got confused.
Yeah, there is an influx of new players on NA right now because they couldn't get into CBT. And at least they're gonna get used to the Brew 2.0 update. But yeah, it is really overwhelming at first, but the more you play, you'll get used to it. But I think when Brew 2.0 came out on NA, it took me like a long time to figure out like how anything worked with the new systems because I didn't even realize you could get emblems from the guild vending machine.
Yeah.
And had to get used to the new guild quests where you can get even points to buy the guild emblems from the guild vending machine. But yeah, you just slowly, gradually get used to it.
Yeah, another good thing too is you can actually get emblems too. If you do like the 3v3 arenas, you know how like you get the points for those. You can actually use that to buy more emblems as well. So it's just I feel like it's a good medium that just by playing the game you can actually get like all the stuff to make yourself in a zone where you're like competitive. Whereas in NA, it's like some of the features in NA you really couldn't get it at all as a free to play player, and you didn't really have a choice. If you didn't spend, you couldn't get some things. Like I know at some point our cores were just not accessible to free to play players at all. Like the only way you could get it was by spending.
For like the longest, like I didn't get my first art core until the anniversary event on NA because they gave some away in pouring boxes. But other than that, a lot of it is swiping.
But eventually I know that it did get introduced once you do the dimensional battles. Once you complete the objectives, the challenges, you do get a chance to get the package that gives you a chance to get an art core, which is better than nothing. But I'm not sure how well they're going to implement that in the global version.
I'm curious to see.
That's definitely a really good thing to have, like being able to start off with that, with the soft caps and hard caps being implemented. That way it doesn't get too crazy. You have like people who are purple emblems in NA, and they're going up against people who are like rainbow emblems, and it's just the crazy power spike compared to compared to like global, where it's like a little bit more forcefully evened out. But we'll see how it works out in the future, how hard they scale in the future.
Yeah.
So we discussed like the mob HP and the better free to play system. What's the next one we noticed?
Well, a big difference is global has a PC client.
Yes. Speaking of PC client, I think that was what kind of killed NA for me. I tried out the Taiwan version of the game,
Oh.
and after experiencing the PC client, even though my ping was triple digits, high hundreds, and I had latency issues and like ping delay, it actually felt a lot better than having to play on an emulator. Not gonna lie, like it's so smooth, it's pretty optimized. I don't really have a lot of issues with it. There are some like minor bugs in it that that might annoy some people, but
Yeah.
it's not the biggest thing.
Yeah, I tried it too, because that's why I even joined CBT, because I was curious about the PC client, and it is pretty smooth. And the graphics are even a lot better, because I play Ragnarok Origin NA on my iPad Pro,
Yeah.
and even the graphics on PC client is a step up from that. But I also understand, like, you being frustrated, because I tried using an emulator, and yeah, it gets really laggy. And it's like I understand you quitting for that because recently one of our older Dynasty guildmates that played Rue NA with us also quit NA because the client, like, he was frustrated we didn't get a PC client and like had to deal with the same lag.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it tries to emulate like an Android setting, right? It's very limited to how much it can actually do. So it'll take a lot, but like offer you so very little, and this just makes even just the movement, like the FPS, the difference that you notice in the FPS and the amount of times that I've crashed in an emulator versus say like the PC client, it's a huge difference. I gotta say, it's like I remember the days when I would be trying to shot call in WoW.
Oh yeah.
And I would crash like 20 times a war.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. So I have a question. Have you crashed at all on the client?
On the client, I have not. No.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I've kept this thing up for like 24 hours, and then I come back and it's just there. LD player, it would be, I don't know, 4 days out of like 7 in a week that it would crash. So
yeah, usually I notice if someone crashes, they're probably on an emulator for NA.
Yeah, that is 100%. And the more people you have in a map, and then can you imagine playing global right now on emulator with how populated all the channels are? It would be a nightmare. You'd be crashing left and right.
Oh man, so NA recently they had an update and it added a lot of bugs to the game. And so we had an Odin tournament this week. And they didn't fix any of the bugs, so we had to go through it with all these bugs, and because it's like 40 versus 40 guild battles, it was a nightmare because it was really laggy and all these bugs going on. So I could only imagine people playing on emulator.
Yeah, it is. Oh my god! Not only that, but playing with that on emulator, which I experienced, and then also having like the death bug. They had this death bug where somebody could be dead and they would still be targetable, and it wouldn't really tell you that they're dead. You just kind of have to like guess it in your head that they're like, yeah, he should be dead by now. And then try to change target. But the target thing was also messed up because it would also target other dead people. The other thing as well was that if they stayed on point, even if they're dead, because they're quote unquote still alive, they actually counted towards taking the point. It was a GBG we had against Zodiac where they all gathered in the midpoint, and a lot of them died. Majority, probably like 95% of them were dead, and they were still taking the point because like everybody's corpses were just in the middle point and just not leaving, and they were considered quote unquote like alive. Yeah, that they just ended up getting the point. I was like, wow, that's really easy to exploit.
That is a rough. My end, because I usually play priest. My end, I was dealing with the res bug constantly. Like, it's a nightmare when it's like a real big battle like that, and you can't res your team at all because this bug is preventing you at all.
I experienced that too. Not as from the perspective of a priest, but like as somebody who was waiting for res, I was always waiting because when you're in a guild, example, like you're in a guild like Panda, you kind of expect every single GBG, every single war. It's like as soon as you die, it's like you get rezzed instantly. Like you're not even having any wait time. And the fact that before I knew about the res bug, I actually experienced where it's like I was just like there for probably like 5, 6, 7 seconds, and I saw like 3 priests running around me. I was like, something's up. There's no way that nobody's raising me right now. And then that's when I kind of figured it out. It's like I have a feeling that the resurrection is getting bugged as well. And then when I asked, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, Resurrection, there's a bug right now. We just found out that yeah, we can't res you." So and that's when we knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really frustrating because like I felt bad because like you feel bad like you let your team down because you can't res them. Um, and then it also sucks because you can reset the res bug, but you have to walk off screen, but that puts you in danger of walking away from your team and then
Yeah.
being targeted and taken down so you can't res anyways.
Yeah, just being forces you to be out of position, which is horrible in a 40v40 setting.
Yeah, because you don't know who's hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, it's like any GTC and X's with the red cores, like just gonna hunt you down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am hoping that with the PC client that, like, I mean, we don't know for sure if bugs will appear in global, but hopefully with the PC client, it makes it a bit more bearable, like for people who have been like struggling with using emulator to play and having to deal with like these bugs on top of like really bad lag from an emulator.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was one of the main draws that people had. A lot of people who weren't even thinking of global when it was announced were actually considering playing global because of the PC client. So I think like that was a missed opportunity on NA's end that they never implemented it. In Taiwan, a new server actually managed to implement it first. So a really good move by the global team to think of that, which I think is something that they learned from Taiwan. The other thing too, the main concern that people had, even if there was a PC client and it would have like better FPS, was we found out that the server is in Singapore. And server being that far, usually you'd be like, okay, if I'm playing from NA, my ping is going to be in the triple digits. Right? It's going to be completely new. So we played it and come to find out that we have had 0 ping issues. So you think that they have like server relays for the West maybe because they made it into global? They prepared this in advance, do you think? I feel like that's how it is.
Maybe, because like it is pretty darn smooth.
Yeah, it's surprising how much smoother it is compared to NA even sometimes, because I know NA sometimes has latency issues even for people playing in
surprisingly.
NA.
Yeah, like even sometimes on my iPad, it has weird lag spikes.
Yeah, and sometimes I would check, and when it's an emulator, usually you assume that it's like, oh, I must be having FPS. This is definitely an FPS issue, but then you check, your FPS is fine, and you can kind of guess like, okay, well, there's only one other thing that could cause this, which is a latency issue, which turned out to be the thing, which is surprising to me, seeing after hearing that the servers are in NA and we're lagging in NA, and then we play the global version, servers in Singapore, and we've experienced 0 lag. It's crazy to me. So far. But the thing about it is, like, CBT was a real test because there's only 2 servers, right? And we heard that the player count actually went over 20k.
Yeah.
Right? And
well, they had to open up more slots gradually.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have to open more slots. Apparently, what happened was they turned the entries by like 30 milliseconds or something like that. And in those 30 milliseconds, like even more people managed to flow in. I think it was a real test because when I started CBT, day 1, hour 1, I remember the channels going all the way up to like channel 46.
Wow.
And that's a huge amount of people.
That is.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of people, and the fact that I didn't lag in that time, I didn't crash in that time, it was pretty nuts to me. It's like, how come Global can achieve this before the game even started, and then we couldn't accomplish this in NA?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and I mean, we probably will never know the answer to that question, but again, it's like we're just gonna be looking forward to Global and enjoying this new, smoother experience compared to what we experienced with emulators before. And besides the ping, what else have you noticed with global so far compared to NA?
Well, I don't know about like costume gacha, but the pet gacha is pretty generous, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, I've had more Apets here in a day than I have in a year.
Yeah, that's what I immediately noticed too. Cause so when I started, I did like 5 rolls. My first 5 roll, I got two of the Apets, and I was like, what the heck? Like, and then like maybe 10 rolls later, I got another like be an A pet, and I'm just like, this is rather generous because at NA, you, well, at least for me, I like mostly hit pity to get my pets.
Oh my god.
But on global, I noticed it was rather generous.
Yeah.
Also with like the pet promotion, on NA we have to get like stars for the pets if we get dupes. But for global, the promotion, if you get a dupe, it unlocks like a new skill tree tier,
Yeah.
which on NA, not very free to play friendly at all because it is a gamble if you will get any of those skills unlocked. And if you want to get a new skill on your pet, it is a gamble that it'll save over your last skill.
Yeah. And,
so not free to play friendly at all.
So like the thing about this is that like it is in CBT, and like some people are saying that yeah, it's just generous in CBT because this is, you know, CBT. But I also played launch in Taiwan, and it was the same thing in Taiwan at launch. And then if you go to Taiwan still at the moment, you'll experience the same rates that you experience in CBT right now. So I don't think CBT actually has a bearing when it comes to how good the gacha system is for pets, especially since you can get diamonds that you can use to buy the tickets for S pet roles and, you know, A pet roles just by playing the game. Oh yeah, the pets also, the biggest difference I think with the pets in NA that kind of just like really didn't give you a chance if you're free to play, because if you notice in NA, right, if you were to try to max out your pet skills, for example, if you were to like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 like 10, right, 10 skills in total, in order for you to max out all 10 skills in NA, you would have to use expensive, like I think it's like 200k is like mid rate, and then the highest rate for skill books in NA was like what, 800k or something like that. But the thing about it is, like, every time you put a skill into a pet, there's a big chance that it will override an already existing skill, even though you have empty slots that you can put skills in. So that made it extremely expensive compared to this new system. And I mean, if you're free to play, you just really had no chance in here because of like how the new system works. It actually gives free to play players a chance to at least, like, in, you know, a few months time, get at least like a mid-rate star S-pet if they just keep rolling for the diamond S-pet coupons.
Yeah, it's definitely with the skill tree, because on NA, a lot of my pets, I don't have all the skills because like of that fear of saving over. Like finally getting a skill to stick and then like being scared that it's gonna like override it. So yeah, it's a big change that I noticed.
And I know somebody asked as well, Dracus I believe, asked about like feather statues you can get as free to play. There is a rotation with diamonds, and it's not that expensive either. It's like 30 per gold feather, yellow feathers. Maximum you can get a week is 30, which is really good actually. And then after this is done, it rotates to the other types of like yellows. And I'm not sure how it is for members, but every week as a guild master, I get and I wasn't even like participating in a lot of the guild events, right? So I will probably get higher on launch when we're actually going hard at it. I got about let's see, I think I got about 3,000 something. Yeah, I got 3,320 diamonds, and I wasn't even very active. Like my guild status is like B right now. So because I don't attend all the events, getting that amount, I would assume that members and officers would get like varying amounts. But again, if everybody is just active and everybody's doing like what they're supposed to with the guild events, I think you could actually, probably regular members would even get something like in the 1k range at least if they're completely active. Really good systems like that would set global apart from NA.
Yeah, as long as you're doing all the events, it usually gives you like, and doing your dailies. Some of the dailies give you random feather boxes too, so everyone should be on the same page. Well, minus whales.
Yeah.
With feathers.
I think it's like in a game like this, if you're trying to think that you can compete with whales when it comes to like progression, I think you're better off playing PC MMORPG like WoW or something. Because like the thing about like Ruane is like when you come in it, you have to play it for what it is, right? Like a free to play expecting to be fully competitive with a whale, which in essence a whale exists because of the advantage that spending brings. I think that wouldn't be a good expectation. And I think it would be naive to think that you could actually compete in a 1v1 scenario like that. You can come close where you can actually, with the help of a few of your members, stop somebody who, let's say, like maxes out on upgrades every week, every month. But the fact that, like, because global will start with all these systems, and the fact that global will actually have these from the beginning, means that, with the hard caps and the soft caps, the differential will not be the same or not be as huge as in NA. Besides the question with the feathers and stuff like that, I think regarding the community managers, right, Ty?
Oh gosh. Oh, well, I've never had to deal with any, because I never joined the Root NA Discord. But I've heard stories based on what everyone else has been dealing with, and in comparison, from other people as well, I've heard the global community managers so far are pretty active
and
like fair.
Yeah. I don't want to make the podcast too spicy, but pretty much the difference between NA and global CMs at the moment, even when servers were fresh, even before the game started, the level of professionalism that I'm seeing from these CMs is just way higher compared to what we saw in NA. Not to say that like all those CMs and the volunteer mods were bad in NA. You know what I mean? I believe that they weren't given the tools that global community managers were given, and I think that's why it gets so much better with the experience when it comes to global community managers.
Yeah, I mean, I've just heard horror stories from NA.
Oh yeah.
So it is nice to hear that the global CMs so far are really professional.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the events that they have, they have, and I've noticed this from a lot of like Southeast Asia based games that I've played, all the way down from like even Noah's Heart, for example, right? When we played that, the CMs are very active, always having these high effort, high quality events that people can just be a part of easily, and everybody can enjoy it. And they actually have some pretty decent like reward. Nothing too crazy, but just enough to give you like, hey, this is a pretty decent reward for that low of an effort.
Did we even get anything like that on NA?
No, I don't think. I mean, we didn't even get the Tesla. I mean.
Oh, did anyone?
Oh god. Yeah, I think to this day, community managers and in the RuNA Discord, from what I've heard, because I'm no longer there, still get memed to this day about the Tesla memes.
I forgot about that Tesla. It's like long gone.
No.
Yeah, that was like when NA opened. There was that Tesla giveaway.
That's just like a quick rundown of the difference at the moment that we're seeing compared to like the NA version versus the global version. I don't want to knock on the NA version too much because again, it was a select few that people really had an issue with, and then at the same time they weren't really, I mean, you could tell they are not given as much attention or resources compared to like how much global is given even in the beginning for NA. So I'm not sure like how much of that was just them, the team, or the people behind the teams, where they were in some ways, like I know it happens in certain companies too, where people were just like set up for failure. So we can't really put it on the community managers as a whole, when only really a few of them had a lot of issues with people. Besides the CMs, let's see. I know we discussed the cutscenes as well and the voice acting, and already, and we also discussed the pet gacha, the minor bugs that we've seen in the PC version.
Yeah, hopefully the bugs are fixed when it comes out.
Yeah, it's more of an annoyance than game breaking.
It's more like cosmetic, and because like it'll swap from Chinese to English randomly.
Yeah.
Stuff, little things like that, but I'm sure they'll fix it.
The other thing too is what I really wanted to add, like playing the game, and I only noticed this because after getting far enough into the game in CBT, first part of this I noticed in Taiwan, where the fragments that you need for crafting your gear, like level 50 gear for example, right? In NA you needed 70 fragments for your weapon. In global and in Taiwan you only need 15. So by doing 2 Helheim Hards on your first day doing them, you can actually craft your weapon and an armor piece at the same time. So by day 2, you'll actually have a full set. You'll actually have your weapon and your sets of armor And then any other fragments that you do after that, which you can do 8 in a week, right? So 2 a daily and 8 in a week total. All the fragments just become extra. So the best part is the second part. If you remember in NA, we had these items that we can use to modify, right? And in order for you to get like really good modifications, usually either you'd have to get extremely lucky or you had to pay to win. In Global, when you modify a gear, you actually use the same gear fragments that you're farming. So like knowing that after day 2, all the other excess fragments can be used to modify your weapons and your armor, it then removes that pay to win aspect of it. So instead of like having those stones that you use to modify an NA and say like diamonds to get it, you can actually spend your diamonds on other progression instead, and the excess fragments that you get from Triple H will be used to modify your gear. Because all the equipment requires less fragments, that means that when you get to your 70 gear, for example, you'll get those done faster, and then you'll have a lot of excess fragments before like the level 90 gear power spike to modify your 70 gear. Because in NA, because you can't transfer modification, you actually had to be choosy with what you modify. Now with a new system, you can actually get your level 50 gear and you can start modifying them, and then when you get to 70, you'll know that you'll have excess fragments, so you can actually modify your 70 gear without having to worry about saving up stones in NA for your level 90 gear. Right, so I think that's definitely another thing that would help close the gap a little bit when it comes to free to play and whale players in Global.
Yeah, that's a really nice system.
Yeah,
because you had to spend a lot of Zenny on NA to like do all the extras on top of waiting like a week to finish one piece of gear maybe.
Somebody asked me what is my CPU usage when using the PC client at the moment. So let's pull that up here. Pull up my task manager. Let's take a look at this game launcher. It is currently using 16 to 18 to down to 14 to 18% of my CPU. Google Chrome actually I think OBS actually ends up using more sometimes than OBS uses more of my resources.
When the client coming to NA? Never.
Client?
They actually did say that they weren't thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the works for NA at all. I'll have to kind of admit that. So
yeah, people have been asking them since Global has client, and they've said that they don't really see the client coming to NA.
And I know some people who tried out Taiwan actually asked for the PC client, and they were just told like, no, it's not in the roadmap. So with
that's what they've been saying too.
Yeah, with the amount of resources they get now, I highly doubt PC client will ever come to NA. That's also the one thing that I noticed too, because the mods are definitely a huge change, right? Because number one, it makes it really accessible for free-to-play players. Number two, now you don't have to worry about your modifications. Like, oh, should I not mod my weapon at 50 and 70 and save my resources for 90 instead? Now you can just do it for every set of weapon that you craft, because it's that much easier. And you have so much excess fragments, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I would say that's a really nice change.
Yeah, and you definitely can't craft a weapon in a day in NA. I know because like a lot of the people who started NA because they couldn't get into CBT asked me like, how else can they get more fragments without having to pay to win? Because they did their 2 HHH in a day, and they're not even halfway. They're not even like, I don't think they're even like 1/4 of the way, or maybe like 2/4 of the way to crafting the weapon. And that's not even like a two-handed weapon. That's a one-handed dagger that he was asking about. But yeah,
and it definitely takes more resources.
So what's your take on the new mod thing? Like, what are I know like you're mostly free to play in NA. I think you only really rolled for gacha when like a costume that you liked appeared, right? You saved like
one time, but then after that, because the penny is like 150, I was just like, this isn't worth it.
It's
so,
not.
Like,
it's really
not.
Not.
After that first time, I was like, no more.
Never mind. not anymore.
Yeah.
But
I'm just using my free tickets.
Yeah. So how is that? How was your experience with modifications in NA? And now knowing this information, like what does that make you think?
I think it's really good. Like I wish we had that on NA, because especially because a lot of people we're always getting new players, and having to get gear, like say for HHH gear, takes quite a bit on NA. So like having this is really accessible to people, and having to take away like having to save Zenny specifically to modify and everything. Because Zenny, like you need it for like lots of things, like, oh, do I want to upgrade today, or do I want to modify, or so yeah, this takes away something to spend Zenny on, which I like a lot. It's way more accessible.
Besides like modification, there's also enchants. There's like a new enchant system now, and I'll pull it up here on the screen right now on stream.
Yeah, I didn't get that far to try those, so.
Yes. So this is the new enchant system in that Taiwan has and Global will have as well. Or the current enchantment is levels 4. A more advanced affix will be obtained after the progress is full. So it's like it's kind of like a 2x pity system. There's like 2 pity systems guaranteed to get a special affix after like 30 out of 50 times, which I think you get around that same one. If not, I think NA might be worse. I can't recall. But now you have this leveling system where like every time you reach a certain level, a more advanced affix will be obtained after the progress is full. So this is every 10 attempts. And I think this maxes out to at highest affix like 10. And so this makes it so you are kind of like guaranteed to a certain point, at least having like decent stats, even if you don't get the special affix that you want. Even though from what we've noticed, you tend to get those special affixes a lot more often than NA. These right here, these Mora coins, I didn't buy any Mora coins. The 728 was just me playing free to play. And this one right here is also just by playing the game. Some of them, like a few of them, maybe from like coupons. I'm not sure if there were redeem codes that did that, but yeah, seeing this right now, like what's your thoughts on this compared to NA? Do you think it's better? Do you think it had better rates or better pity compared to NA?
Yeah, I think so, because NA, we didn't even get a bar to tell us, that we were close to it.
It just tells you that you're close.
Yeah, you had to just see the fine text, like know it's there, and then it'll say like you were like eventually after putting in a few enchant tries, it'll pop up and say you're like 10 rolls away finally from like getting a gold. So like it felt like, I mean there's like a certain amount, but it felt kind of random just like because there is no bar telling you like how close you are, so you just constantly have to just spam enchant to try to see if you get something. But yeah, Global, this is a lot nicer, I would say. Like it tells you like when you're gonna hit it finally, and it's not as much as NA.
And the new leveling system too to guarantee that you'll at least get something decent, even if you're not in the pity yet, or you haven't gotten the special affix that you are looking for yet. It's a lot better compared to NA already. Yeah, it guarantees that at least you'll get something decent instead of like if you get unlucky with your affixes, then you're just kind of screwed. At least here it's like, okay, maybe I don't have a special affix and I'll get it eventually, but in the meantime, at least I have some pretty decent results to show for with the more that I've invested. Also, another thing in Alfheim, because you get a chance to get super pet coupons just by using diamonds, it might take you a while to get an S pet, but it does help you clear mobs, especially with MR, because the difference between NA, I think, and Global now, or Taiwan, is that pet skills are no longer like activatable. They're just automatically there. So if you're a free-to-play player and you manage to get luck out and like get a Donnell or an Earthlord or something, it actually makes MRing easier for you. What else was there for oh yeah, because you get A pets easier. If you can get like an AoE pet, for example, like the Abyss Witch, which is, I mean, A pets are really easy to get in this version. So if you set up for an Abyss Witch or let's say like a Fire Spirit for some Meteor Storm, and you can leave that overnight since it's automatically casting, you just have to leave your pets like some SP potions. Even as like, let's say like a Bonk Priest will actually do pretty decent MR in lower level mob grounds. People are saying like, yeah, pets are OP. Well, the thing is, like, even in NA, pets in the lower levels. Did you ever do 5v5s, 3v3s in NA early on when pets were kind of like the meta?
Like really early in NA?
Yeah.
Like before, like the first month when the game came out, or?
Yeah, like when Cake had the Donnell early game and was just one-shotting everybody.
Oh no, I didn't join PvP until I joined Dynasty.
Okay,
like,
yeah. So
it was a while.
Yeah, in all versions of Rue, and I know people are screaming OP pets already. In the early versions of Rue, like early mid game, it's gonna be pets versus players pretty much. It's gonna be a Pokemon match, and it's unfortunate, but it's inevitable at that stage in the game that pets are very OP. But then as you get later into the game, it starts to transition more where player gear, feathers, and all that become a lot more, and emblems become a lot more important than an actual pet. Eventually maybe we'll get that Lulu pet, which will make people incredibly tanky, but until that time comes, hopefully with everybody scaling from the get-go, that won't be as big of an issue as it was in NA.
I guess we'll see.
And yeah, we're sitting on a bench because we needed a good backdrop if we have a different like spot every week.
There's a lot of nice spots in Origin.
Yeah, and so yeah, besides the enchants, what else did we? I think there was
anything else you know?
I think there was a new special effects for the affixes where I think you actually have PvE specific affixes for like the PvE lovers, the the ET clears, the MVP lovers, people who just want to purely invest into PvE, which I know a lot of people do, even in NA. And that that's I think it's a wonderful idea that they actually get their own affixes that they can aim for. Like PvE damage bonus, PvE damage reduction would be huge. And not the biggest deal for PvP players, but it's good to have that option for PvE players. Somebody asked, how will they determine the rebates? Is it Gmail bound? The rebates will be applied to the email that you logged into, that you used to top up, and the first character that you make, it will go there. So be careful of what server you're starting on and what server you're creating a character on, because once you create that character, everything's gonna go there. You can't change it anymore. Do they have more than 50k rebate? Rebate is 150k 100k, I think. Hi, did you try pulling any of the cogs, like the cogwheel gacha?
No, I don't think I have.
I think the ones that you get from the mystery shop, like these right here, beginner gacha, cogwheel gacha, you can notice that it says with an extremely low chance of getting advanced cogwheels, which are like gimmicks. I think, because I tried opening, I think close to 100 of these, or like 100 of these, and I didn't get a single gimmick. I'm not sure if it was just like pure bad luck, or they actually intentionally made the rates lower, because I know in Taiwan, even in Taiwan, they don't have R cores yet.
Oh, what stage of Ryu is Taiwan in regards to like updates?
Hey, is Taiwan in the 90s? I think in the 90s section. Yeah, cogs you can get from the Neon Berry shop. You can get from the Diamond shop at sometimes, I think. Yeah, you can. Mystery shop, and if you do your Deviling daily. Yeah. The other thing too, I'm not sure if this is true, and call me out on it if you think that this is just copium. But I heard a little bird told me that when Global launches, there's gonna be free S-Pet tickets, which you use to summon S-Pets. So there's actually talks of people that haven't spent anything in CBT re-rolling their characters at launch until they get an S-Pet.
Wow.
I'm not sure how many S-Pet coupons will be there for free and if they even exist, but that's what I was told. I can see it happening.
Now that you bring it up, yeah, I can see people doing that too. Like with any other gacha, people re-roll a lot.
Yeah, would you be open to doing that? Would you actually like?
No, because I'm too lazy.
What if
I don't have the time for it.
What if they gave you like 20 S-Pet coupons?
I still wouldn't do it. I don't have the time for that.
Oh my, yeah. If you're planning on being like just completely free to play, right? Or maybe you're not as active, so you don't get a lot of diamonds, so you can roll like S-Pets, get your S-Pet later on. I can kind of see people doing it because
I can see other people doing it.
Yeah, like having a Dunell in the beginning, like early to mid, and by early to mid I mean like level 1 to like level, well, you can't roll pets in level 1, but like the earliest that you can you can roll a pet all the way until like 65, level 65, and this is just with a base Dunell, by the way, or a base Earth Lord. It actually does help you level pretty fast, like hella fast. And because the null is auto now, I mean, at the same time you can get the same effect with 8 pets in like low level mobs, right? When you're MRing for low level mobs, you can leave it overnight, and even if you're, let's say like you're a Bonk Priest, you're not the best MR class in the world out there, right? Compared to like ADL Hunter or Magic Crasher like High Wizard. Having those skills on auto actually makes it so you'd MR really well. So I think that's a really good difference maker, like MRing at lower levels, even if you're like not the meta MR class.
Yeah, I can see people rerolling for that.
Yeah.
I'm not me though.
And somebody's asking, are there incentives to play multiple characters in one account? There is absolutely not. Rue does not encourage multiple.
No, also because it's not like original RO, you don't share storage, so.
Yeah, exactly. What other cons are there to making an alt, even if it's the same account?
Like
storage?
If your alt gets like a good drop, then like if it's on the same account of your main, then it's like, are you gonna swap to the alt then?
Oh god.
So that's an unfortunate thing of even having an alt is them getting a good drop maybe.
I've had horror stories of people making alts, joining like a random party to MVP, and they actually get up there in the rankings, or like they get like top 10, and their alt characters actually get an MVP card.
Wow.
Oh my god. Even people who like make second accounts too.
Yeah, I've seen people get like BPs and stuff on their alts. So not advice, I would say. Like of having it on the same account. If you want an alt, maybe have it on a different account so you can at least use both at the same time.
But it still sucks getting an MVP not on your main account. So
yeah.
I understand some people make like a second account to have like a full support at all times, right? But what do you do once there's your alt gets an MVP card? Like you're not really investing into that account, or it's like you're not really. Yeah, chances are that account's probably not as much effort or as geared as your main account. Like, what do you do then? It's like, do you switch over or do you like sell it or just use it for yourself?
Yeah, that's the decision you gotta make if you have like an alt.
And I know you're not a stranger to getting MVP cards.
You know, that's one thing that I'm so like hesitant to play global is because I'm like. My NA account, I had so much good luck with cards. I don't know if I'll have it here, but we'll see.
I remember it being an ADL hunter, and then I was like, "Wow, I think I'm gonna go hunt for Doppel today because I'm gonna go get a card." And then like I log in, and then you were like, "Patty, guess what I got?" I was like, "Huh? What happened? You got like a Hydra card?" I was like, "No, I got a Doppelgang card." I was like, "Huh? What card?" Oh my god, man! You have no idea how jealous I was when I heard that. I was like, should I?
Well, nowadays on NA, there are many priests with novel, so.
Yeah, and as much as, I mean, you know, in NA, we ended up getting a lot of the MVP first, and we did a lot of MVPs. I never actually got a single like drop card or BP from MVPs. The only BP that I got eventually was from ET, like a low-level BP that I sold for like 60k or something. And that was it. Yeah, I've heard nightmares from people who have been playing. I know like some people who played KR for years, and they tried out NA and they actually got like a BP from Drake.
Wow.
And yeah, to this day I don't think they've gotten any loot.
I guess it's like pray that your character and account are lucky.
Oh man.
Because yeah, some people are a lot luckier than others with drops.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that maybe my account this time is gonna be luckier. I do believe in streamer luck, and I plan on streaming a lot. So you never know. If I just do MVPs like all day, every day, complete like my 5 out of 5 a day, maybe I'll get lucky.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, streamer luck. Because I think I wasn't streaming Origin at the time, but I was streaming and
oh my god,
that's when I got my drop.
So that might be it. That might be the key. We'll see if streamer luck real. We're just gonna have to find out in every single day that I'm streaming.
You should make like a tally, like how many days until a drop.
That's the sad part. The only time I got a good drop, which was an accessory that I needed, when I was not even playing my main account anymore, I just re-rolled and tried out ME Priest for the hell of it. And I ended up getting an appropriate ME Priest drop, I think from Garm, was when I got it. And I didn't even know it was for me. Like, I had just given up completely on my luck in NA, that I didn't even know that I got something good.
Wow.
hopefully my luck changes, and hopefully your luck stays the same in Global.
I know. I'm hoping.
What else is there? NA versus Global.
This is something I just realized. So with the diamond funds, there is actually a section for fashionable appearances, which we don't have at all on NA. So you can get some cosmetics from just doing daily quests and guild quests for the diamonds, where you can get a little bit of costumes. But yeah, NA doesn't have that at all.
Yeah, and I believe they eventually they change these, or they rotate it, I believe. So
that's cool.
We'll see.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, if they rotated.
Yeah, maybe after some time they'll decide. Maybe like every quarter or something they'll change it up. Maybe we'll find out. But
yeah,
right now,
because if it rotates, that would be nice for free-to-play players, because otherwise some of them you get through the mystery shop only.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like wardrobe EXP, right? Like wardrobe EXP is pretty good. I mean, obviously, if you're free to play, you should be doing MR a lot, right? So you can craft all the headgear and stuff, like even the back pieces. So you can up your fashion level. And you know, I know a lot of people hesitate to like, yeah, I don't want my PC being on 24/7. You actually can just use maybe like a service like Redfinger or something. And what they do is it's like a cloud server, and you can use their service to do MR for you, and you can just leave it there. And you just, you know, I've heard a lot of good things with services. Like, there's similar services like that as well that you can pick and choose from. But if you're willing to pay that like small fee a month and save a lot more than your than your electricity bill.
That's interesting. Never heard of it before.
Yeah. Oh, are some of them PvP based and the diamond shop? I think this one is demi-human, the mid piece. I'm not sure if they're gonna rotate more demi-human stuff on here. I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm hoping they rotate because that would be nice.
That at least gives you like a PvP option, and for some people, obviously, there's PvE lovers, they have that option as well. Yeah. And what other things have you noticed too, like compared to NA, like in the shops alone?
Oh god. One of the things I noticed immediately was the recharge. It goes all the way up to what, 2,000?
Let's see, I think it goes all the way up to 2K.
It's like, dang. You know, they know their player base well, that there will be some whales.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Southeast Asian whales are of a different breed compared to NA whales.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, they oh my god. And I'm seeing a lot of big names. I know some of them I didn't know until people told me. Like, I believe Mana Guild is from Rocks. Altef 4, I think Mana is based on mostly Indonesia. Altef 4 is, I'm not sure, is Altef 4 a Thai guild? I know they both come from other RO games, and they're all converging over into the global server. I know BBDR, which I know is one of like the biggest whales in the Philippines as well. I'm familiar with him because I saw him play the Southeast Asian servers for Black Desert Mobile when I played that game, and he was definitely all the way up there. I think he surpassed another, I'm not sure if it was a Philippine whale as well. Saren, I believe his name was. He was like the top whale, and then BBR at some point just came into the game, and he just like outspent everybody. So the good thing about it is that because that there's a lot of whales, there's no way they can compete with bidding now with cards, right? So in order to make up for that, you can see here at the bottom there is pity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we don't have.
We were supposed to have it, and I remember they were hinting at it. It's like, I think it was a CM that said like, NA actually has pity, you just don't see it.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and we just can't tell you how much you have to kill.
Yeah, it was a whole discourse when that
Yeah.
conversation came up. Yeah, I don't think we had one. Because there's still people that I know are farming for like a soldier skeleton or Hydra, and yeah, it's been like, I don't know, like a whole bunch of kills in like a year.
Yeah.
Later, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, I know. Some people have been playing consistently for a year and haven't gotten a single card. So that's just like, and that's with CT plus Monster Annihilation as well. So
yeah,
it's crazy that people, so whatever pity system that they say they had, it's downright just atrocious. Because in here, it's I think I only grinded Hydra for like a day, and I got 0.3%, right? And I didn't even use my MA. I just used my CT. And I got 0.3 pity progress. So I mean, that means that like within the months of time that you're trying to grind for cards, you as a free-to-play player, you actually have a decent chance of getting like a 3-star. Depending on your luck, you get a 3-star Hydra, or if your luck is not that good, you can still get up to like 2-star, which is not that crazy of a difference. Yeah. Dracus is asking us, what is the advantage or fun in playing in a server with Pyke, Helios, and Ghettos? Dracus, are you just not mentioning yourself? You are one of the Helios and the Ghettos of the game, Dracus. Don't
I think from my point of view of like, because I currently am in Panda because Dynasty merged, and I think a lot of it is them, like people that are focused on PvP, they are like actually looking for that challenge, to get better. And like own their skills. So I don't think it matters that there are a lot of like bigger whales, because if you have good teamwork and coordination, you can take down like whales.
And I think that's the main thing that we're looking forward to. From what I've noticed, the meta in KR, the meta in Taiwan, vastly differs from the meta that we created in NA. Drax says, challenge, you can't outplay that. Well, the thing is, you might not have as many whales or giga whales compared to the other huge whale guilds in the global server, but you'll have enough, right? Because like when you say like sea whales are different, that means that you're also gonna get those same sea whales in your guild, either the ones that you recruited beforehand or beforehand, or the ones that you recruit when you make a good reputation for yourself in the game. It's just a matter of like they're gonna have more whales than you. But I mean, we've seen it time and time again in NA, where especially in a War of Imperium setting, which is the biggest game mode that people in Southeast Asia, by the way, War of Imperium has always been the biggest thing in Southeast Asia. So that's going to be like the main focal point when it comes to like PvP. We've seen it time and time again in NA, where a group that's like outnumbered and outgunned, and outgunned by outgunned, I mean like not as many whales in that team. You've seen it before, right? And when like the Panda versus Bread 20v80 plus, and they actually ended up wiping. There are a lot of ways that you can outplay. I'm not gonna say it here on stream because obviously I want to take people by surprise, but there are a lot of things that you can do that can outright nullify the advantage that a whale has and make a whale feel utterly useless when they should be feeling otherwise. Yeah, but you're comparing apples to oranges. I think I'm comparing skill levels. I'm confident in my own skill based on the results that I've seen, based on the situations that we've been. I'm confident that I can beat them, right?
Yeah, I mean, for like a lot of people who are into PvP is their big point of playing the game, like they're gonna go where their challenge is. Like it doesn't matter if there's a bunch of whales. Like that is seen as a challenge for them, you know? It's like what they play for to get better and like learn strategies.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that there's like a ton more whales on this server. Like some people enjoy that, you know, aspect of PvP, and that's their whole point of playing.
Drakus is saying you can beat 40 Ghettos and Helios in the primary battlefield. You have to realize that it's capped at 40. We'll at least have 40 Ghettos and Helioses in our guild. So the whaling part is not an issue for us, right? Like we'll have our own whales. The only issue there is going to be who's going to be better than the other. You already have them? Yes, we do. Yeah, correct. So we'll have that competitive 40-man squad. Now it just depends if we're better than them.
Like, and even if you are beaten by whales, like I said, lots of people still play to get better and like focus on PvP. So it doesn't matter that they're against like people stronger than them. It's all part of like the game.
Yeah. And Drakus was asking, then where was the spending in NA? A lot of our whales, and I tell you, like when I say sea whales are different, because we have those same sea whales in Dynasty. They just didn't choose to play NA because of the ping difference and the event times. Some of them wanted to give it a try. They tried it out day one, saw the ping was horrible, and just left and just considered it as like not worth their investment. Ping is not a huge issue in global. The event times might be an issue. Depends on how much they're going to change it, right? I think, did they mention that they're going to consider changing the event times?
I'm not sure. I know that yeah, it's like I've seen like a toss up. Some people are not happy about like the times, but then there's a lot of people who also are excited for it. Like because on NA a lot of the time for the events are not very Eastern friendly.
No, it's not.
And so like I notice people that are on the East Coast, they're pretty excited about like they don't mind morning woe because it is better for them to like have a morning woe versus like staying past midnight to, you know, and they're like really tired and trying to get through it. So yeah, it's like I've seen like a 50-50. Some people like are fine with it and some people are like dreading it.
Yeah, like Drakus said, unemployed East Coasters. Yeah, that's me, Drakus. Thanks. I'm actually, because of like the stream, I'm actually adjusting my stream to match the morning schedule, which it is actually healthier for me than my current sleep schedule. So that's a big plus for me. Technically, being forced to fix my sleep schedule is just a better health option in general.
Yeah, I can see it helping some people.
I'm not like up till 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Oh my god. But yeah, that's definitely a con for East Coast, because you remember those days when we were doing what's that event that we never got the titles for, even though we ranked top 1 in it? There was an event that went all the way to like 3 a.m. in the morning in the East Coast. I forgot what it was.
Was it?
It was like a battlefield thing. It was like a battlefield thing.
Was it Veins? Or...
Veins, yeah, Veins. Oh god, I still remember. Every Veins, I was like tryharding to get top 1, and the first one I think I got the title and got the rewards. Second one and onwards, I kept getting rank 1, but I never got those rewards.
Really?
Yeah, I reported it and everything. I even like complained about it and everything. And I just never got the rewards. They just never get. That was one of the things that really disappointed me in NA was I stayed up till like 2 a.m. 3 a.m. for this event, because like, you know, it's a good title to have. It's a good advertisement for the guild. You know, it makes people know that like, hey, these guys actually try hard, and I ended up not getting those rewards. So like, yeah, that was a lot of just wasted time playing in
That sucks. Yeah.
till 3 a.m. just for no reason.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but you know, if it's NA, then I guess it's gonna be I'm not gonna be up, but I'm gonna be playing till like what 3 p.m., which is
It's like a more reasonable time for some people. Yeah, that's why I can see people being fine with global times.
Yeah. I mean, even if they adjust it, right? Maybe they make it later for East Coast and a little bit later, and not like 5 a.m. for West Coast. Make it like maybe 7 or 8 a.m. for West Coast. I think a lot of West Coast players would actually prefer that. What do you? I know you're in the West Coast, right? So
yeah.
What's like a good time for you think that a lot of West Coast players would like?
I'm pretty sure some wouldn't mind like morning, but even if it went up to the afternoon, like it would seem like normal, to be honest.
Okay, that works.
Or so, yeah, even past working hours, like past 3-5 would be a good time.
Speaking of events, War of Imperium, you think with a huge population they'll actually open the Payon?
Yeah, I'm really curious about that.
Because we never saw Payon.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
We're actually currently gonna get a server merge this week with Angeling.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just gonna be. I don't even think it's gonna supplement the amount of people that are leaving for a global.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, that they're merging because there are a lot of people that are moving to global.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of people who have already either like refunded their accounts, or a lot of people that, you know, this just outright like quit playing NA because they're just playing CBT in global, and then they're just anticipating OBT in the next month, hopefully.
Yeah.
Also have like, I guess probably like a big guild versus a big guild type of War of Imperium over there, but I don't think it's enough to open the Payon.
Yeah,
castles.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. In global, they might be forced to.
Yeah, global, I am very curious if they will open it, because yeah, we never saw Payon at all.
This is like personal opinion, but playing RO1, Payon has always been my favorite. Like
me too.
Yeah, exactly. Like the bamboo fucking cat. Oh my god, the bamboo castle was always. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see the Payon castles, and we see like maybe like 2. If they open like 2 castles, that would be really nice actually. And the other thing too is I know that sometimes like the bigger whale guilds, they're gonna have alliances, but the only thing about like Rue is like alliances, they don't really work as well as they should, because if you're chances are, right, like if you're a whale guild, you'll have a castle already, so you can't officially ally, because if you own a castle you can't ally anybody. So it's just going to be both guilds kind of like getting in the way of each other if they're not fully synchronized, which gives a lot of opportunity for the defending guild to have their flank teams take advantage of the chaos, because if they just get into the middle of the fight, then, you know, those two quote-unquote allied guilds are just going to start hitting each other.
Yeah,
and chaos breaks even before they get to the defense line and say like the wind tunnel or something. So looking forward to that one. 40v40 guild league, not so much of a big pull in Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, when it comes to Ragnarok games, War of Imperium has always been the main pull, so I know that that's going to be where people put the weight on like the most. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see, because 40-40 is pretty new because it's 2.0 Rue mechanics. But I think they'll get into it, because like NA, most of the guilds are active with 40 versus 40. They don't even do guild versus guild anymore.
Yeah, the 5v5s are kind of like a dead event now. It's not really worth doing. The rewards are not good enough, but I know some people, if they bring it over to global, obviously a lot of the big guilds will for sure have triple 5v5 team.
But yeah, I can definitely see them getting into the 40-40s too, like on top of WoW.
Yeah. What I am hearing though is the current meta in Taiwan, they're telling me there's LKs and trappers. I'm not sure specifically what kind of buffs they got. If they are in like the 90s like zone, no matter how much I think of it, there's just some inherent weaknesses of those two classes that just make it hard for me to see how they could be meta, right? Because like, for example, if you're a trapper, you're either setting traps for somewhere that you know people will walk through, right? And but if you're trying to kill somebody in front of you, the only way that you can kill them is by walking up to them and then throwing a trap in their other feet, and then it's just hold them like that. But in any competent players or team with AoEs is never gonna let you do that, like you're gonna get melted walking up to the to the group.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious as to, I'm not sure how many guilds are gonna play into that meta with trappers and LKs into the late game. I know a lot of people are playing trapper just to grind faster in the early to mid game and job chains at 70. But I wonder how many big guilds who have experienced Taiwan will actually be trapper mains and LK mains going into 40v40 or War of Imperium. Because going into a solid defense line in WoW, I think a Synex or a champion actually has a better and more success rate of like getting past the AoE line compared to an LK.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Yeah.
Also depends like how like cohesive their teamwork is.
Yeah, and how organized they are. You know, because a lot of how like a guild functions well in War of Imperium is not on the fly. It's a lot of preparation beforehand, like actually training your teams to know what they should be doing and what they should do in case like a certain situation arises. And you know, we can touch more upon that once like WoW or 40v40 starts. But yeah, and somebody said land protection is what will allow trappers to walk up to your AoEers in 40v40. But the thing is, like, if you try to walk up to your AoE, it's like they're not only gonna have wizards and ME priests, right? They're also gonna have their LPs too that will cancel out your Numas and your safety walls, for example. But they also will eventually have sages. They'll also have Synexes. Once those guys or champs once they see you try to walk up, they're not just gonna let you do it. Like, and not any competent guild will never let you as a trapper walk up to their stack and throw a trap on everybody's foot. At least I hope not. When you take Sniper, the class with the lowest HP scaling in the game, and you combine that with trying to walk up to a group of people to throw a trap on their feet, I just don't see it working out. For next episode, I think we can try to think of bringing in people and kind of like people who played Taiwan, people who played NA, people who played like KR, for example. Kind of like bring them in, and you know, if anybody wants to, you know, be a special guest and kind of share their thoughts on global in general, or their own comparisons, their own opinions, and you know, we'll welcome anybody who wants to share their thoughts. Somebody said trappers supposed to ankle snare. There's actually no ankle snare in Root.
I haven't been on that much because I already have a hard time juggling NA. And plus this is getting wiped, so I'm like not investing too much. Yeah. But how have the guild events been, since I haven't been able to?
The guild events have been, I think because of the sheer amount of guilds, the matchmaking in the guild events here are actually pretty good. I know like the big guilds usually get paired up with the other big guilds. I know I saw a video of Mana versus Alt F4. Like, you know, I think Mana is like, yeah, Indonesian really big organized like whale guild in Indonesia is Mana, and then Thai I think is Alt F4. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Alt F4 is from Thailand, and like they faced off with each other. We gleamed on some points that happened on that fight, but you know, I'm not gonna bring it up now. I'll bring it up in a different podcast, in a different episode, so we can have some 40v40 reviews. I noticed that like because we're split right now, Dynasty is like server 1, server 2.
Oh yeah.
We are small guilds, technically. We actually got paired with guilds that had the similar attendance. Matchmaking definitely functions a lot better now that there's enough of a pool of guilds to work with.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, since we don't have many guilds on any.
No. Look, I think there's like 2 big guilds and like 2 medium-sized guilds, and then everybody else is like...
Now there's gonna be only like 1 big guild.
Yeah.
Because everyone's moving to global.
Exactly. Hopefully for the people that decide to stay in NA, you have a good time, you enjoy, you have like decent fights. But if you don't, then global is always looming in early April.
Like you know, some of your NA friends will be on global.
Exactly. So yeah.
I think we've hit every mark that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think so, right? Let's see.
Because I don't think there's anything else that I noticed.
All right. Well, I guess is it fair to say that we can conclude the episode over here?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that is the end of the first episode of the Dynasty Podcast for Root Global. Again, we'll be discussing a lot of topics regarding global, and we'll be answering a lot of questions regarding global. Maybe we'll create a thread in the Dynasty server where people can toss their questions out. We'll pick like the first ones that get asked, take screenshots of them and pull them up on stream, and then, you know, that way, like myself and Thai, we can answer those questions for you while giving credit to the people that asked those questions. Thai, I'd like you to have the honors of closing our first podcast ever.
Well, That's a wrap, folks. That's our first Real Global podcast.